The emergency ban on vape product sales is technically over in Massachusetts today, but it is not back to business as usual. A new state law is banning all flavored nicotine vape products, limits the amount of nicotine content in vape pods, and taxes vape products at 75%. One of the goals of both the new ban and the new law, the ban and the new law, is to make it harder for teens to vape. But what about the kids who are already hooked? As Stephanie Leydon tells us, they're dealing with a nicotine addiction more powerful than the kind you get from cigarettes, which could have long-lasting consequences.
Playing football with his brother outside their Bridgewater home is a sign of progress. For a while, 14-year-old Colin Gabriel spent much of his free time avoiding his family.
I would always say to my mom, I'm just going to go downstairs, chill, watch some TV, play some video games. But I was using the Juul at the same time, and that just relaxed me.
Juul dominates the vape market. Gabriel took his first hit soon after he turned 13.
You kind of build a tolerance for it where you don't feel the buzz anymore in your head. So you just want more and more of it to get that buzz.
Then, last summer, just before he started 9th grade, his mom found out.
I'd almost rather he was smoking a cigarette. Vape, e-juice, Juul, whatever you want to call it, you can't smell them. You don't see the effects of it. And it's so highly addictive. One little pod has the equivalent of a pack of cigarettes. And by the end of this, Colin, I guess, was smoking or vaping a pod and a half a day.
It took a month to get him an appointment here at Children's Hospital. Dr. Sharon Levy estimates demand for teen vaping addiction treatment is 5 or 6 times higher than it was just a few years ago.
Kids who are having difficulty with their attention, with concentration.
She says nicotine exposure from vaping is far more severe than anything she's seen from cigarette users. She says it's even caused some kids to have seizures.
A lot of them will have compulsive use. In other words, they really can't stop. I have kids who tell me it's all they can really think about is nicotine.
I have these nicotine lozenges, which is like a sucking candy, kinda. And I use those to get me through the day, kinda. But it's day by day. Sometimes when I have them in my mouth, I'll like suck on my pen to make it feel like I'm vaping again. But it's just having that kind of feeling from it.
My husband and I both agree it has been devastating to watch our child go through the withdrawal process. You know, the leg shaking, the chewing his cheek, the anger, anxiety, stress, all emotional, all combined together.
We don't know what's going to happen in the long term. This is all fairly new, right? So will these kids stay off vaping? Will they ultimately become cigarette smokers or use some other substance? I think that's an unknown question.
It's one Colin Gabriel thinks about, too. He knows kids who have stopped vaping but started smoking. And he says the ban didn't stop a lot of kids from getting vape products or from continuing to offer him a hit.
And Stephanie Leydon joins me now. Hey, Stephanie.
Hey, Adam.
So had Colin heard the horror stories about vaping-related sicknesses and deaths before he picked up the habit?
It's interesting. Right when he was caught and his parents got involved and the vaping devices were taken away, that is when the deaths started to hit the news. Heard about them at first and kind of dismissed it as, oh, that would never happen to me.
Well, he's young. That's what you do.
Yeah, that's what you do with that brain. That's kind of how you process things. But as the deaths continued, it really did start to impact him. And I think it was one of the things that helped him really make the decision to try to quit.
The argument that we heard that people are, if they stop vaping, just going to turn to cigarettes, or that idea is an argument that we've heard from critics of the vaping ban. Is there merit to it, do you think?
There's dispute about it, for sure. There's some evidence that cigarette sales in Massachusetts went up when the vaping ban went into place, although there's in dispute because they fluctuate anyway. I did speak with a gentleman who owns 30 convenience stores, most of them in Massachusetts, a handful in New Hampshire. He says during the ban, cigarette sales in Massachusetts definitely increased. There was an uptick, and as you might expect, vape sales in New Hampshire also increased.
Although based on your report, I find myself wondering if that is such a bad thing. So, I mean, one doesn't seem like the safe product anymore.
Well, there's a question about, a lot of public health advocates will say that vaping is the lesser of
Yep.
two evils, although ideally they would say
Don't do
don't
anything
do
at
either
all.
one, right?
All right, Stephanie Leydon, thanks. Good to see you.
Good to see you.